Well, welcome to the Fashion Icon 9-week course. In this course, we're going to go through roughly 9 weeks and 9 modules of preparation and also photo shoots, video shoots, and mindset. Always getting back to the mindset of being the icon, chasing the icon, allowing everything else to come to us, because all we need to focus on is being that person that people turn to and people understand that we are being the best that we can be. So here is just a little video on how models understand that perception versus reality and how perception works for you in terms of people looking at you and thinking you're confident. Regardless of whether you feel that way, it's the way that we project and protect ourselves by acting in the ignorant enough to believe that we are good enough to be the icon that we are chasing. And that means basically we work on the instincts which happen automatically as soon as we get in front of a camera, that boom, boom, boom. It's instinctual because the muscle memory then takes over. Okay, so this little video is just going to reinforce that. Let's talk afterwards.
Now, if you pick up your child, chances are your feet are firmly pushing on the floor. We've all heard about the equilibrium of forces. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. What's the opposite of confidence? It's ignorance. Confidence is the same. It's pushing on ignorance. You see, confidence is applied to appearance, interpretation, and the exaltation of someone's accomplishments. It's perception at work. Modeling is the perception of confidence. Someone who is ignorant enough to put themselves in the vortex of perception. Here's perception at work. This person's educated, well-dressed, stylish. All those elements add up to one thing: certainty. All wrapped up in a package of certainty. That's what confidence is. What's funny about models is when they're on the runway, they can't see a lot. All they can see is a whole lot of lights, a whole lot of flashing cameras, potentially even a little bit of runway in front of them, and the model who's walking back. It's not about what they see, it's about how they're seen. So what do soldiers and sports stars train? They don't train teamwork. They focus on reflexes and instinct. They don't train scoring. They train reflexes of when to kick and when to throw a ball. It's the muscle memory which is used to execute the technique. Muscle memory of technique will help the execution of that instinct. The technique and the muscle memory that's relied on is the reflex that is instinctual. The technique and the muscle memory that's relied on is the reflex that is instinctual. It's exactly the same with modeling. Technique for muscle memory is walking, posing, and networking. The technique for muscle memory, well, it's the way you pose, it's the way you walk. The reflexes of the body is when to do that, when the cameras are looking at you, when you've finished walking. Your instinct overall will propel you forward in the industry. When to talk to other models, when to talk to show organizers, when to meet and greet with designers, when to meet and greet with talent scouts. You see, this is why it's called boot camp. Life is pretty much comprised of 3 things: food, comfort, and connection. For food, we're all pretty much time poor, especially with kids. So we know sometimes we have to get McDonald's. What is the core product of McDonald's? It's time. They know you don't have much time, and you know the menu, so you buy their food. Comfort. You need somewhere to put your kids. You need somewhere to put yourself. You need to feel comfortable in a house. What makes you want to buy a certain house over another? The real estate agent works on trust. The core essence of real estate is trust. Connection. We all need connection. We dress ourselves based on connection to the brand. Confidence and certainty in that brand delivering us a feeling is all about connecting you with the elements of confidence, which is made up of muscle memory, reflexes to use that muscle memory, the instincts of when to rely on the muscle memory that is built with technique. Again, that adds to the certainty, which is perceived as confident. You cannot be confident without first training ignorance. Confidence is not something models have to achieve. It's just applied to you in the vortex of perception. The application of technique is the muscle memory. It becomes the instinct, which is the reflex.
This is Fashion Icon. I welcome you so much. I look forward to everything that we're going to do. Thank you for watching the introduction. Okay, I'm going to send you some things very, very soon. Check your email, check your messenger. Let's get started. Whatever you want, you're never gonna have. The reason I say that is because there's a separation between wanting something and already embodying the fact that you have it. Sure, we've all heard the secrets and everything, that you visualize something, you move toward it, but how many of you actually feel like you've embodied those things that you want and that they're compartmentalized to the degree of moving it aside and then living in the now of either managing that or just working it? Separation is the killer. Now, in terms of confidence, you may not be feeling confident because your self-worth is attached to something that you stress about. As in, my body's not good enough. As in, my financial position doesn't put me in a place where I can attract those women into my life. My body count, the amount of women that I've slept with, for example, is not high enough for me to feel a certain level of confidence in terms of how I can conduct myself and reference myself. Comparison is also the secondary killer. Well, it's potentially even primary. Comparison is just a destroyer. Either way you look at it, doesn't matter. Comparison is going to kill you. We cannot compare ourselves to other people. Let's face it, you come to me because you need the posing, you need a branding, you need a position that's digital, something that you can exercise in the social media. Social media is all perception versus reality. It doesn't have to be real. The only realness or connectivity part of it is using the stories to say, well, this is what I'm eating at the moment, this is where I am at the moment, this is what I'm experiencing, and isn't it great that I'm doing that? It's very self-loving, it's very self-assured, and the concept of self-love is really just an anecdote. People who are extremely insecure, and it's put together now only because social media is part of our daily life. Before social media existed, which I remember because I'm nearly 40, is that self-love was always sort of there for people who had their shit together. We're looking now at social media as a pivot or a basis on which to generally like ourselves or measure our self-worth, which again is not going to fix anything. It's not going to make you more confident. And whilst that may even work against the fact that I'm here saying, hey, you need to come and you need to work with me so that we can get your digital resume to where it needs to be, the reality is, if we don't work on the internal parts of your confidence, the internal parts which project onto the photo, it's never going to be a sell. If you are held back by the way your body looks, if you're held back by a financial position or a problem with how you bring things into your life, or if your life is slightly climbing and then boom, you hit a problem because of self-sabotage, because of unworthiness, I mean, we're going to keep going round and round in circles, and you may end up paying for coaches like myself time and time and time again, and then not actually, really getting whatever that vision in your head was at the start of it. If we're not honest about this stuff, then there's no point in even starting. Confidence is just certainty. In terms of modeling, in terms of branding, the certainty put forward is a practice on reflexes in a situation. As in, the camera's on, the reflexes come up. You know your posture, you know your stance, you know how to where to put your neck and your elbows and everything else. Those things can be taught, but unless it's practiced on, unless there's a belief that I belong here, I can own this pose, I can look a certain way, then you're never going to really connect with confidence, and then that's not going to be captured. The camera doesn't lie. That really is, the fundamental essence of all of this. What the camera needs to pick up is somebody who, yes, has practiced the pose, yes, can pull off a feature, yes, can wear a suit and then turn that suit into the essence and, embody that. But if you're not embodying everything else and compartmentalizing what is yours, what is owed to you, what you deserve as a person, then what's the point? Then we're not going to get anywhere. There's not going to be a connectivity. There's not going to be fundamental linkages. There's not going to be success, everything else. Success is not a money figure. Success is not, hey, I'm worth this much because I've done this, blah, blah, blah. Not if you can't deliver. Not if you can't get an ROI for your photographer or the magazine that you're posing for. Not if people don't buy it because you're on the cover. Stop having this little idea of I'm only going to do this if I get this, if I get that. No, because that's not success. That's not confidence. That's not, I am projecting this, so therefore you must give me $25 now, or whatever rubbish you're putting out there. So let's get back to the essence of this. Let's find your confidence. Let's move towards something that is owed to you. Let's start putting those visions out there. Let's start going, you know what, I've got this sorted, compartmentalize. I've got this sorted, compartmentalize. Don't want anything that isn't yours. Don't go, oh, I want more confidence, I'm going to go see Stevie. Go, I am confident, I am moving in that confidence, I am certain about the reflexes which I'm going to train on, and I'm going to look a certain way. Those are the right ways to approach this. Those are the right ways to think in your own head. Don't think, well, I need X amount of $1 million in the bank. Say, I've got X amount of $1 million in the bank. Why? Because my self-worth, self-love is not conditional to my money. It's not connected and it's not attached, strapped to this idea of self-worth equals its amount of money. Because all those things burn and go away. You need to enter this world and exit it in the same way, you know what I mean? With nothing. So you leave here a creative vision. Leave the world with a creative vision, a creative legacy. You came into this world as a baby with nothing. You're going to leave it in a fetal position with nothing. You will die, So money is not going to go with you. So your self-worth and self-love, of course, can't be attached to you as a person. So let's put the money stuff aside. Let's put this, I need $25 an hour, I need $100 an hour if I'm going to model or things like that. Those things are relevant. Make your success about the vision that is portrayed in your digital resume. And I'm not just saying that so you work with me. I'm saying that for your benefit. You really need to separate all the things that you can't control, all that should already be attributed to you, out of the vision that you're projecting on social media. The reason I say this is because if you lose all your money, or if you put on weight and your partner leaves you, do you know what I mean? Like, I've seen it, so many people just step on other people to get the financial results. They do anything to get the $50 million. They lose some of that because the share price goes down. What are they left with? There's no self-worth, there's no guarantee of confidence, there's no certainty, there's no digital, evaluation. Look, the thing is, if you value yourself on, money and how you look and how many girls you've slept with, the problem is once all those things go, when you hit the 40, the 50-year-old mark, you've lost your money, the share prices have gone down, your wife leaves you because you've got overweight, you know, this can happen. This is a very real situation. I've seen it time and time again. We know guys that buy Porsches and then drive them up into trees. It's a suicide because they can't handle the pressure of losing $1 million in a day or whatever it is. So your self-worth has to be preserved. You know, the whole point of coming into this program is not just to get a digital resume that says, I am, I've practiced the reflexes which have turned into my certainty, which means I can pull a pose and I can look a certain way and I feel confident in that pose, and the camera is working with me to, connect with everything that's happening. You know, the suit, the beliefs, the confidence that I'm exuding, and now people are perceiving that confidence because perception is the reality of social media. No, it's so that you obtain some idea that your self-worth is separate from all of those elements as well. See, this is sort of the hidden gem. So if there's one thing that me personally can compartmentalize, is that, okay, music, I've got that down. So that's shifted to one side. That my self-value is not attached to music because I don't even practice it, because I try not to. Because I do other things that I prefer to do, because that part of my life that's done. All right, great. Yes, I need to work in that sometimes because people come to me and go, hey, you're the guy we need for this. And that's the way it should be. Some of you, I know, some of my clients, they've got lots of money. So it's, hey, push that to one side. That's still not you. You know, who's the you that shows up? It's not that, hey, I've got all this money, so I'm showing up and that's who I am, because you're going to die one day and that money is going to be nothing. It's going to go to someone else. So who is the you that shows up? You know, it's the person that cares. It's the person that has empathy. When you listen to a song in music, there's always one instrument that's in every single song. What is it? It's silence. And when silence is used effectively, it creates the rest of the song. You need to be the silence, all right? Confidence is the silence. It's not the person that's being loud. It's not the person that's going, hey, everyone look at me, look at me. No, it's the person that's using the certainty and using the reflexes, going, I know what I am. I don't need anything. See, that's what confidence is. And if I'm going to coach you through this and bring out that certainty, then we need to have an understanding that self-worth is not based on, how many girls I sleep with, how much money's in the bank, how many, what are the things I'm hating about myself, whether I'm disproportionate, whether I've got an allergy, whether I've got, a deformity on my body. All those things need to be compartmentalized, and put into its place. So I can only talk to you now because I've got a level of certainty that I practice and I reinforce every day. And whether it's gratitude that reinforces it or not, it's that understanding that, the basics are there. The basics of being grateful for air, for lung capacity, for using my limbs, for having those available. Yes, I'm grateful for proportions and all those other things, but of course there's things I hate about myself. We can't change them. How do we use them to our advantage? And that's really the essence of this course. So come work with me today. Let's get you to find your inner silence, that instrument that plays all the time, and let's get you to be more confident. Stevie Mac here, looking forward to working with you today. Thanks. So they say that TFP is ruining the industry. What is TFP? It's trade for print. But guys, let's face it, if you don't have an active portfolio or you're not constantly updating, then you're not going to be able to source the works, nor are you going to be able to show where your body's at the specific time. Let's face it, you're not going to have a full, complete, perfect body 365 days a year. There's going to be times where you do a massive shoot, which includes all of your body shots, all of your swimwear, all of your smart casual, all of your formal, all of your beach wear, and all of your Sunday session casual wear, so that you can extend out your portfolio in the times when you need to take a little bit of break from the gym and from keeping the perfect abs. If you lead with the problem of I need to be paid a certain rate, you're going to potentially miss out on jobs. Look at the highest paid actors. Sometimes they miss out on jobs. Doesn't matter what their rate, doesn't matter what their portfolio says, if they're not right for the job. This is the same with models in some cases. Whilst you can have a set rate, you've still got to think about the return on investment, the ROI for the person hiring you, especially the designer, especially the producer of the show, all of those kind of things. If you cannot produce a good enough ROI, then you shouldn't be hired. Reasons why you should be paid and things you should be paid for as a model. Obviously, there's some form of commercial viability and the fact that you need to be used for your proportions, for your size, for your height, for your face formations, for the different angles that you pull, and for being a human coat hanger. Those things, yes, should be paid, but the problem is, of course, it's going to be dictated by standard in industry rates. So whether it's $50 to $100 an hour, maximum $250 an hour, based on if you fit into the exact criteria, which generally is 5'10", size C bust for girls. For guys, we're mainly focusing on, so obviously you'd be looking at, around about 6 foot, a 30 waist, 108 chest, 40 inseam in your jeans, and then like a maximum sort of 38 to 40 around the waist. So again, you've got to fit the specific measurements, and then it's going to be condensed your payment or your reward based on the industry and standard rates. This is not going to progress your career. Sure, we can use Instagram strategies and everything else to pull in numbers and whatnot, but if your engagement's not up, you're not going to becoming the iconic, the person that's sought after and prove a return on investment. So how do we get all of the brands that you want to model for coming to you and not just paying a rate or industry standard rates, but paying your rate? That's by developing your brand as a model and knowing exactly where you fit. It's not just being generically good looking or generically fitting the mold of the criteria, which is the 30 waist, the 44 inseam, the 108 chest, and having this concept of being a good coat hanger. No, it's being something particular. It's already having a portfolio which is going to match the brand that you're trying to get the contract for. It's being able to go to the magazine covers to show them mock-up designs already of their magazines, to show them projected amounts of people who are going to see it, and people who are already following you going to purchase that magazine. You need to lead with the return on investment. You need to set yourself up with a strategy that is about doing their job for them, so that you're the obvious choice, you're the only choice. These basic little things that you can put into the way you market yourself is going to set you up for better success as a model. So work with me to do that. Otherwise, you're going to be chasing your tail, setting some standard mediocre, basically standard rate that is just, not going to achieve what you need to, and you're going to waste time. So guys, if you can simply do that, then you're going to set yourself a little bit higher up, level up straight away, be more mentally prepared. The other thing to do is also get into every single group. I see this time and time again, Brisbane models or local models, Australian models, to say, hey, I'm free here for a TFP, basically hit me up now, which is fine, great, but be doing that in every single country, regardless of whether you can go there. Don't worry about COVID, don't worry about travel, just start networking already. And also with Runway, stop worrying about being paid for those kind of things. You need to think of that as a showcase. Remember, musicians still pay to play even when they're millionaires and everything else. They still need to hire rooms unless they build them themselves, but they need to still pay, or the band pays, or whatever the business that they've created pays for them to rehearse. So you need to be looking at modeling in terms of catwalk as two things. One, it's networking to meet all the photographers that are going to be submitting to the right magazines, so you need to know who they are. Two, networking to see who is who of all of the designers. And three, you need to be networking with other models and finding out who their agents are, getting all their Instagrams, following suit and touching base with them so that you're included into their other groups that they are doing the same thing for. You've got to be everywhere at the same time. The only way to do that is through the Facebook network groups, setting yourself up with the mindset strategy that every catwalk is a networking event. Get invited to the after parties, because that's really when you get closer with the designers and they can start looking at you, you know, in terms of your size, shape, and whether or not you're going to fit the vision of their next collection. These are the things that people who sit back and go, oh, well, my agent should be looking after, you know, getting me $25 to $50 an hour, or putting me in an extra role for a movie. You're going to go nowhere. You're going to waste years, and eventually you're going to end up spending more money with some guy like me who's saying, hey, come to my workshop, spend $6,000 here, get some headshots there, and still be looking at your modeling career like a gamble. Guys, get a little bit more proactive, get a little bit more of a strategy. I've given you the tips here. Whether or not you move in with me, that's fine, but I've told you what to do. So start thinking of yourself like a business, okay? So basically, you've got to build that brand. You need to make them find you. The way to do that is to scatter that net a little bit with some strategy, saying, hey, I know my measurements are up to date. I've got a digital resume. Here it is. You know, putting it out there before you ask for the cash. Don't even worry about the cash. Lead with the return on investment. Guys, if you hire me, these are the people that will be following you. This is the size of my Instagram. They'll be the ones who are buying the product. They'll be buying the magazine. They'll be buying the clothes. They'll be the people I'll be marketing to on a consistent basis. They're the people who want me in this position of top model, all the rest of it. If you lead with that, you're going to get better traction, you're going to lead with strategy, and you're going to get a better result for yourself. You're going to feel better in yourself. So guys, I hope that's helpful with getting some strategy into you, leading with that so you feel better about it. This is being an icon in the fashion industry, a fashion icon. All right, don't waste time. Remember, I'm here to help. Ginger Fox, every day, all the time. Remember, it's not about what you see, it's about what you remember. So guys, here's the macro breakdown for you. It's all in this video. I'm the Ginger Fox, and this is Fashion Icon. Guys, in this video, I'm gonna break down the macros of my daily diet. It's really, really simple, and this is the foundation which you need to follow if you're going to get anywhere with your body. You need to get out of this mind frame that I need taste, that I need ceremony, or that my mates are coming over, so that means we're gonna drink, all that kind of stuff. If you're going to be an icon, you need to act like a statue, as in you need to be rigid in terms of your beliefs, rigid in terms of you do not stray off your diet, and you achieve success every time, and you are ready to be the icon on stage, ready to be viewed as that model. You are a doll in living practice. You can turn into a product at any time. If you don't get that mindset right, then don't be here. It's fine. Don't be a model. Don't chase it. But you need to stop thinking, I'm a model, I'm beautiful, I'm all this kind of thing, I can have a cheat meal. You've got to get that out of your mind. You need to get strong. You need to get, really focused on the fact that if you're not eating clean and if you're eating processed rubbish, you might as well take an ashtray, pour it into some water and smash it down there with some beer, follow down beer, and sit to the sideline and don't be a model. Don't get on stage and don't want to model with me, okay? That's just how it is. I've got to draw the line in the sand. Food is everything. You are what you eat, okay? You are everything that all of this puts in your body. This is the macros breakdown. Let's get into it. Be an icon. Be a fashion icon. This is Fashion Icon. So guys, briefly I just wanted to run you through the model diet, or the one that I follow pretty closely every day, and it becomes a habit once you do it a number of times. So I've woken up early, I've gone to the gym already, so I've already burnt at least 300 or 400 calories minimum, and I've got my body woken up, so it's the first time I'll go to the gym, but there'll be gym videos to follow this. I just wanted to run you through what I do for a good breakfast nutrition, and also I'm just using the same concept of breakfast as with your dinner as well, like sort of your late meals, things like that. Now some people go from the 6 meals a day concept, some people do the 16 and 8. Either way, there's a certain amount of calories that have to be maintained for you to function, but also you want to be at a calorie deficit at all times so that you're getting your body used to portion sizes, but also you want to be confident with your body every single time you take off your shirt. So what I'm doing right now, I'm going to put spinach into my mixing cup. Now, sometimes I'll use a bigger mixing cup, but this is a pretty good size for your first meal of the day. Stick spinach there, chuck some egg on top of it. So this is a really good way for you guys to work out, like if you're really precious with food, what sort of ceremony you're connected to in terms of dieting and whatnot. If it's like, oh, the boys came over and we had some, chicken. So I'm getting some frozen blueberries now. So blueberries, in terms of the food group, you want the acids, but you also want the antioxidants and things. This helps break down the fat cells. Again, the fiber is helping to distribute from the fat cell because it's there, caused by buildup of glucose or energy you're not using, stored carbohydrates. So you want to break that down, especially in the morning. You want to get things going. You need some form of carbohydrate though, that's going to sustain you in terms of energy. So you stick a little bit of oats in there, which is good to go. Get out, go on. Okay, I've only used 1 or 2 eggs. Generally I want to eat 6 eggs a day. That's just a good measure. And then of course a bit of oil range, because the diet, and I always do and will always do, is fiber focused. You always want to have a fiber focus in your diet. So you don't want too much, because this does have a bit of sugar in it. Even though it's the best, it tastes the best, and it gives that extra little flavor. So guys, remember your taste buds will adjust. If you can handle doing this for 7 days, your taste buds will adjust, and it won't be like, ooh, yuck, I can't do that, I can't have spinach and bread at the same time, have a whinge, have a cry, oh, where, they say that sweat is fat crying. Well, it starts here in the kitchen. I'm going to smash another egg in there. There's only 2 eggs in there. That's okay. I've got 6 whole eggs in the fridge that I'll eat later. Cool, that's breakfast done. Once you shake it up, obviously. Add a bit of water. Now guys, get the hell away from milk. Why would you have milk? Now that's blended up, it's a nice color. It's sort of like an aqua sort of tinge to it. But, so that's perfect breakfast right there. It just tastes like a milkshake or a sort of green smoothie almost. Man, you gotta man up and have it. Dieting and being a model and stuff is, some people think it's glamorous, and you get this and you get that, and they're like, oh, you're up yourself and all that kind of stuff. But these are the nuts and bolts. This is that happens behind the scenes. This is the stuff that people can't actually handle doing, to be honest. Let's face it. Cool. Now for lunch, I'm just going to run you through real quick. Now, I eat at least 2 to 3 cans of tuna every day. I always boil the one that's in oil. I think they're the best flavor, and also it's good because there's not a lot of added flavors, added sugars. You want to get away from salt. You want to get away from sauces, all that kind of stuff that's going to put jelly on your stomach. You've got to think of it in these terms, guys. You've got to get serious. You've got to go, look, if I'm eating anything but clean food, I might as well be picking up the ashtray and throwing it in my face. Do you know what I mean? These things are the savior. This is a good portion, 250 grams of rice, brown rice. It's a complex carbohydrate, which means it's not going to store into glucose if you don't burn off your energy, and it's not sugar, so it's not going to give you a coma, a food coma straight up. Look, the way I used to do this was simply open a bag, pour tuna in there. eat from the bag, you know what I mean? So if you don't have a bowl, in this case, I've already got one prepared. Here's one I made earlier. So I've got the tuna in there, I've got the brown rice, and I've even thrown some eggs in there and everything. So it's got the beans, you've got the brown rice, and you've got the eggs and everything else in there ready to go. She's beautiful, she's absolutely gorgeous. Guys, you've got to tell yourself this is the best food, and this is the hardest stuff that you're gonna eat. If you can do this for your lunches, right? 2 of these a day, right? And then just have some almonds for your oils. Bag of almonds. You get a bag of almonds, man. That's all you need. Like, you need essential oils, right? So if you think of food, like as in, here's all the things that you need, distribution. Here's your oil to run your machine, which is your body. You know, and also it's a good snack, and this will keep you going in between meals. You have your hard stuff for lunchtime. You don't want to have carbs after 3 o'clock, because then your body's starting to go into rest mode. But at the night when you go to bed at, say, 10 o'clock or whatever it is, you don't want to have all that hard carb stuff, having to break down while you're sleeping. This is why people get fat. So they have a lot of hard carbs, a lot of sugars and everything before they go to bed, because it helps them sleep. Yeah, but also your body's not working in that time. You haven't been to the gym during the day, so it's got nothing to, it's not turned on and it's not breaking down. It's real simple stuff, guys. You've got to exit the calories before your body rejuvenates and heals from the day before, and then you hit it again. You smash out the calories before you then smash your shakes. Your body's craving those shakes in the morning, and then it uses the food. It's about using the food properly. So I hope that gives you a pretty good insight of what the model diet is. If you can maintain this 8 weeks straight, guaranteed 6-pack, plus working out. That's all it takes. 2 solid months of doing this kind of stuff. Keep yourself in check, keep yourself in diet. There's no such thing as cheat meal. Don't worry about that rubbish that guys say, oh, I need it, because it resets me and all that kind of stuff. Generally, those guys are on steroids and they don't have the body that you want. There's a lot of chiefs out there, but not enough Indians actually doing the work. There's a lot of sit-down politicians, whatever, throwing poo from afar and never actually doing the work. So don't listen to anyone who doesn't have the body that you want. Listen to me, because I'm doing this every single day, week in, week out. And we can talk more about other options for food, but this is the real foundation. This is the core stuff. If you get this right and you turn your body into a machine, start thinking scientifically about what each part is, the food groups, complex carbohydrates, acids, distribution and fiber. This is extra fiber. Your oats, carbohydrates, your eggs, that's your pure protein. You can get away with not having the oat. It's pure protein. And your tuna's pure protein. This here also, the red kidney beans, that's your protein as well. So massive protein. Here's your micros and here's your oils as well with the nuts, okay? So there you go, broken down, everything like that. Message me, DM me if you want more information, if you want me to write down some plans for you, look at current diet intake and all the things you're currently doing to not get the model body that you want. And let's get things happening. Thanks. This is fashion icon, Chase Icon. Check it out. There's not 3, there's actually 5. But if I said 5 at the start, you might have gone, oh, I don't have time for that, because we need to feel like we're doing a lot at the time. But look, get on the treadmill and listen to me, all right? Seriously, guys, you need to stop. Do not, number 1, do not ever ask a guy who may even be your friend, all right? Especially someone you don't know. Look, even if he's your friend, even if it's someone you met on the first date, guys, seriously, number 1, do not ask a guy what he lifts, what he benches. Oh my God, how small is your dick? How many times are you going to have to be John Valjean and save a woman who's under a cut and use all of your strength? It's the same as buying the fastest car on the street. When are you going to use it? Guys, you don't project this insecurity by going around saying, oh, well, I lift 100 or I bench 120 or 150 or whatever, and you only do body weight and stuff. Think about the end result. The end result only makes you look like a dickhead. Chances are you're short. Yeah, I'm calling you out on it. Yes, I'm telling you, it's a short man syndrome thing. It's a small penis thing, and I can't have it, man. If you're gonna be confident, first of all, it stops there. Second of all, do not use any female terminology. Do not go to a female life coach and then use this idea of self-love. It's not for men, that's for women. That is a woman term, okay? Self-love, you know, there's so many depths we can go into why that is a thing, but I'm telling you now, do not think about it as self-love. Think about it as on purpose, on mission, and I'm control of my schedule. That will give you the self-love that they're talking about, right? The loving of your schedule, you know, it's compartmentalized in terms of men because everything is internal and external with men. With women, it's external first. External first. Self-love comes from internal measurement towards the external. It's the opposite way for men, okay? That's number two. Stop buying into any terminology that is feminine in nature. Number three, guys, do not idolize any of your friends that have nothing. As in, they've lost their hot girlfriends, they've lost their houses, and you know they're older than you, and they think they've got all this advice. Stop listening to them. Stop idolizing the leaves in the wind. Women are leaves in the wind, not men. Any man that is living in the past story of his failure or his rise to success and then his loss of it, the success, is not somebody you want to idolize. You cannot go into a gym and go, oh, that guy's overweight, I'm going to ask him what he does. What the hell are you doing? You need to surround yourselves with people that you look up to. Look, I know there's other coaches out there, there's other people out there talking about the sum of the five, and you're going to be the sixth or whatever. But seriously, it takes one person in your group to change a lot of things for you and go, well, that person's onto it in this way and that way and that way. I'm going to do what he does. I'm going to actually listen to him and he's going to be my source of inspiration. Stop listening to the person you don't want to be. You'll think of this as the cast of Winnie the Pooh. Do you listen to the Eeyore? Or do you listen to Tigger? Or do you listen to Pooh? Which one is it? You need to place yourself in the character. Which character are you? Right, two more things you need to stop doing before I tell you what you need to start doing. Right, number 4, stop tearing down your friends behind their back. Sure, they might put out content that isn't perfect. Hello, me. You know, it doesn't matter if there's a spelling mistake or if my head's cut off from one thing. Chances are you've already watched 3 minutes to find that error. Right, you are under analysis paralysis before you do anything, and you're scared of putting yourself out there just in case you might get it wrong. This is something you need to work on in being an insecure man. I don't want to be seen as faulty. I don't want to be seen to be this, that, and the other. You need to somehow get ignorant over that before you can get confident. Before you can get confident, you need to be ignorant of those things, of falling first, failing first, of looking a little bit unprepared. It doesn't matter, because you know what, in the sea of people that you are going to potentially try and surface up into someone's newsfeed, they're already going to see 10 other people before you or 10 other people after you. What are they going to remember? What are they going to remember? If you stuff up, chances are that's a good thing. And then they're going to tell you, oh, you stuffed up here and you weren't perfect there. Fantastic. They're talking to you. They've seen what you've done. See it as a good thing. Number 5, there are no shortcuts. Some of my friends come to me and go, oh bro, like I was reading at the gym, you only need to go to the gym 3 times, and I was reading this thing or whatever. Or when it comes to the gym, guys, and making your body, there's no such thing as cheat meals and days off. Don't feed the lies of, oh, I need this trans fat, whatever. If you need more food, eat more chicken. You know, if you need more food, eat more of the good stuff that's doing. You know, be strategic in the good stuff. You know, if you're gonna have a bad meal, say I'm gonna have a bad meal because I need a bad meal because my palate's not adjusted yet, or because I'm, you know, basically weak. You know, get real. Right, 3 things I want you to do to start becoming a confident man. Okay, I've told you what to stop doing. The 3 things you need to start doing. First of all, find the best looking guy in your group and tell him he's awesome. He may have fucked the girl, he may have been with the girl that you wanted to be. Great. Tell him he's good. Bless that soul. Say, you lucky bastard. I want to be you. I'm so impressed by you. I'm inspired by you, bro. You know, I like being your friend, right? Because you need to start breaking down these problems of your own insecurity. You need to like be okay with the fact there are better looking people than you out there. Trust me, I do this all the time. I have to do this all the time. Okay, so otherwise I get worried about certain things. There's so many things I don't like about myself, or I would change if I was God, but there's also so many things I do like about myself because I practice this thing. I tell my friends like Michael Fallon, Teddy Briggs, all them, they're way better looking than me, they're way more popular, way more famous, way richer than I'll ever be. My man Lloyd, he's like half my age and like 5 times the net worth of me. I tell him, and he's ripped. And I'm like, dude, you suck, but I love you, man. I'm so glad I'm friends with you. You know, you're inspiring to me. So start doing that. Number 2, stop worrying about getting big. Stop worrying about putting size on. What is that going to achieve? What is it going to achieve? Unless it is strategy. Unless you are working with a personal trainer and you are trying to achieve a goal of being, you know, a strong man in this competition, look at it as just for that competition. But being big is hard to maintain. You know, get a body weight focus. Honestly, this is going to help you just go, as long as I can manage my body weight, I'm going to be fine. As long as I can manage my body weight, I'm not going to be asking guys how much they bench. And my dick is not going to be threatened by the bigger guy in the room. Okay? Again, you can't build confidence without going internal and fixing these little like broken strands, all right? The things that you are making worse every day by not having a good enough routine. And number 3, get a plan for your life. Now it sounds really vague, right? I know, but real confidence with women, real confidence with yourself comes from the love of your schedule. Like I was saying in other videos, like I'm saying on Air Your Dirty Laundry, like I'm saying in right now, is this idea of self-love and all that kind of stuff. It's a feminine. The idea of self-love is a feminine terminology. A masculine terminology is on my purpose, on my mission, on my schedule. Right? You've got to schedule your life. All right, so Friday night you're with the boys. Saturday night you're at a game, watching the game with the boys, whatever. Sunday you might allow a nice beer or whatever. Maybe have a Sunday lunch with your family or whatever. Date night with your girlfriend or the girl you want to see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because she's going to have girls' night next week. You need to scheduleize that stuff. Why? It's conditioning the expectations. It's priming the body. It's making sure that you are okay with what's coming up, predicting the future. All right? Those sort of things are going to start making you settle down and relax a little bit into your schedule, which again is going to project a confidence, because you're not going to be like, oh baby, aren't we going to hang out Friday, Saturday, that kind of stuff. You're going to start looking needy. You're going to start looking wanting. And I understand that that's okay for a man, but again, we're working with the other species here, the other girls here, and how they relay that information is definitely not the same way that a man relays that information. And guys, you've got to find the joy in watching, soccer with your boys. I swear to God, in Finland, for me, the best part of it was sitting at the bar, drinking a Coke Zero or even sometimes a beer, because I let myself go and watching soccer. And when they changed the channel, I was pissed off and I left the bar. If you watched this far, I can't believe it. If you've watched this far and you're a girl, again, can't believe it. Let's recap. Okay, so guys, please stop asking other guys how much they bench. 2, stop using feminine terminology to try and handle masculine problems. Number 3, stop idolizing the dude in the group who has had success and lost it. Do not idolize leaves in the wind. 4, stop tearing your friends down for imperfection. Number 5, stop thinking there's a shortcut, all right? 3 things to do, check it out. Lift up your best friends, tell them they're awesome. Say thanks for being friends with me, bro. I'm glad to be in your group. Number 2, have a body weight focus so that you are not getting into this, priming sort of intention of saying I'm not good enough. When you are good enough, my body is good enough, I'm going to use my body that is here, so I'm going to build some more strength just with what I got. Thank you, God, for what I have. Number 3, stick to the plan of being on your schedule, right? Work out exactly what you do and then manage your schedule. This will really help with the inserting of confidence because it's prediction for the week, all right? And you won't sway and you won't alter when things change. When girls say, oh, my plans changed on Friday night, can I hang out with you? You're like, no, baby. Because I've got my schedule, I'm on my purpose, I got my boys' night. Sorry, you're gonna have to wait till when we're supposed to have the date on Monday, all right? Trust me, this really helps in terms of conditioning yourself. Okay, I'm your guy in your corner, you know where to find me. I hope you have found some value from this video. Make sure you click like and subscribe, do all the things you know what to do because it's 2020. And if you need to get a little bit more of what I am giving out, then you know where to find me. Links below, check it out. Stevie Mac here from Australia. I am one of the leading model trainers here. Thank you very much for taking the time to use this little posing breakdown. I look forward to being in Atlanta as soon as possible. Okay guys, posing basics for models that are going to be. Now some people think that this is a good pose. No, it's terrible because our chin is right down, can't get a great connectivity with the eyes, and of course it just looks like we are not supported in our back. Using a wall gives you an idea of how straight you need to be, and then of course we adopt the string theory, pulling up the head like a puppet so that your body can then act like a coat hanger, here being sort of the bottom of the coat hanger and here being the part that is hanging the clothes, okay? So that also gives us an idea of where our movement can be, okay? So obviously if you are on string theory and you are now placed as a coat hanger, there's not a part of you that's going to go this way or go this way, for example, because that would just be silly. So if we are upright as a coat hanger and we are draping our arms, that means now the clothes are wearing us. And we are, yes, of course, working with the clothes to achieve the vision of how the clothes are going to look on us. Now also I have made up this thing where I do the Holy Trinity, so Father, Son, Holy Ghost gives us an idea of where we should move if we're moving collectively as a Trinity, as 3 points of the triangle, yeah? So that gives us an idea of where we should move our head. If we're going to move it each way, we don't drop our head, and any sort of diagonal thing, again, we can just put it back. So, and it's always good when posing to think the wall is behind you and therefore you're standing up straight. And that gives you, if you're going to move your shoulders, you move your shoulders in. Don't move them in like that because then we lose a lot of the body. Okay, so this is just a posing breakdown. Now, it also works the same if you're going to catwalk, okay? You start off on the wall, keep it up straight. You don't want to move too forward, especially with posing or catwalk or anything like that. You don't want to lose the direction of where the camera is pointing. The camera's going to get all of you. It wants to see most of you and see your chest as well. So put that out and so lean back into the pose. All right, that's a good little breakdown. I'm going to hand you over to Ego to talk around the rest.
Right, so this was basically an overview of how to model with another person. So what we tried to do is match 4 to 5 outfits and get the correct backgrounds happening. And as you can see, I'm doing all the work and she's staying in one place, which I guess is fine and probably expected when you're working with female models because they don't have a great deal of versatility. Depending on where the photographer's aiming in terms of if he's just capturing headshots and whatnot, is where I'm moving my body to suit. Bending down, making sure that I'm using my facial features such as my jawline to really get my look happening, to accentuate her face. As you can see, she's standing pretty much still, so that gives me all the options to create my shapes and sort of just move into her. So the photos are going to come out as obviously something for me to use more so than her, because she's going to look pretty much similar in all of them, which is fine because her face actually captures quite well on camera. So I'm basically directing, sort of telling her, okay, just move a little bit into me. I'll do the sort of creative posing, whatnot, so that we get differences in every shot. And then I'll be checking the photos just to make sure that the framing was correct, to also see whether or not I need to move anything, or if I'm happy with what he's already got, and whether or not we need a couple more. Definitely for this style of leather jackets in black, you don't want to be smiling. You got to fit the genre of the clothes. You got to think, okay, well, we're wearing leather, we're looking sort of, you know, rockabilly, rock and roll, you know, bikey, whatnot. There's all those elements captured, so there's a certain attitude that comes with that, so you've got to be mindful of how you portray that attitude in the photos. Photographer saying he doesn't feel like he's captured enough of what could be a great set of 3 or not more, so I'm suggesting that we, you know, spice it up a little bit, get a bit more movement out of her, try a couple of shapes. If she's going to pull her hair and do something slightly fun or slightly, you know, in your face, then that's okay. It could probably come with a smile or an attitude, but again, the photographer's going to take, you know, 40 or 50 photos and only pick 5 at best. Ideally just 3 for Instagram or for whatever he's going to use it for. Yep. Again, it comes down to where exactly his framing is, so that I'm not looking too forward. Also, you don't want to lose the legs. You also do want to capture a couple of full body ones, especially with the white background, because that will look nice. You have to Photoshop and iron out the background. So it's still white, you wouldn't be able to change it much, although there is a way to do it. It's like a green screen. But yeah, as you can see, he's definitely got to fix up the background so it looks nicer. And then we go in for some solo shots as well. Okay, so now I've got a different look, different background. Obviously, if I'm not wearing black, then having a black background is helpful, because it's going to be in Photoshop a lot easier to just find absolutely everything. So all those considerations in place when I'm doing a solo shoot and he's filming, taking photos rather on the side, he is getting the full body. So I need to make sure that my tilt and my pivot and my angles are in line with how he's shooting it, and making sure that it's not too overdone. And also see how I am really sitting into my bottom. That's a silly sentence, but you don't want to be forward. You want to be more so going backwards, if anything. Definitely pushing back, and you don't want to lean too forward. If anything, you want to lean backwards. It's really important, because
The more you lean forward, the more you'll lose your legs. And now we're trying the double denim because that's a thing. Whilst the double denim doesn't exactly match, you can still get away with the hashtag and come up in the searches. Now for every time he shoots, I'm wanting to move. You don't want to get two of the same exact shot unless he's obviously one's a headshot and one's a full body. Even then it sort of comes down to the quality of the camera and whether or not he's going to do it as well. So we've got the girl model now. She's obviously a lot shorter than me, so that means I've got to work harder and I've got to bend and I've got to try and attempt for her to match some of my poses or just to work around her poses, because again, girls aren't hugely versatile in terms of their movement. Most of the time they generally have one or two looks that they've perfected or that they're comfortable with, which is fine. But again, the height difference means that the photographer has to stand up on a stool and he's not necessarily going for anything full body, and at best he's going to have to direct just in terms of the height difference. It's going to be impossible for me to know exactly what he's seeing, but as you can see, I'm having to bend right down and to work with him in terms of how he's going to capture the frames, and then I need to check it. So do I need to adjust anything? Do I need to be down further? Do I need to be down up? I mean, as much as I can envisage and attempt to see his vision or whatever he's thinking of or hoping to achieve, constantly checking the camera and gives me an idea of how I can move forward. Now we're trying a stool, obviously, so we can match heights a little bit better. So these are the things that are necessary in terms of just getting the right landscape in the photos and whatnot. Now we can match heights a lot easier, and I'm doing all the work, which is fine. But that's generally what you need to expect when you're working with a female model. You need to basically direct them. It's like a dance. They need the male to take the lead. I've never yet worked with a female model who isn't too worried, or isn't in her own head in terms of how she looks and wanting to just use her right side for the photos. So the males are always going to be a little bit more confident when working with the female, because they'll find it easier to sort of work both sides of their face regardless of if one side is better, and sort of move the girl around. I prefer to do videos rather than stills with girl model, but this is the name of the game. You've always got to work with females regardless. So as you can see, I'm still having to hunch down a lot more and just make sure that I'm really using my legs and leaning back. Last thing I want to do is lean forward, because then it'll look just very, very odd, very bad. And again, I've got to really take direction from the photographer in terms of how I'm sitting in the frame. I'm just going to take off the double denim and just match the whites. She's not wearing a brassiere, so her nipples are showing through, so that's something he has to work on with Photoshop to just iron that out, which is fine, so that the shot is safe for socials. Those are the things. If you have a girl that's got a problem with bearing nipple or whatever, or can't get dressed in front of you, then she's not made for the industry, because when you're at a catwalk, you don't have time to worry about being naked and running here and there and being naked in front of everybody. It's just, there is no such thing as time, especially in a photo shoot as well, because I only mapped out like an hour and a half for 4 different outfits. You should not ever need longer than an hour. Get changed quickly, don't reapply makeup, come already in makeup, unless there's a makeup artist there. Again, the girl should be in makeup before the guy gets there. Guys should only apply minimal makeup unless it is an actual makeup photo shoot. So, just little things like that you need to keep in mind of. Now we're trying to match shots, again, under the direction of the photographer, because he's got some ideas and inspiration already pre-thought out. Okay, so now we're outside, actually standing on a massive water tank. As you can see, Dave's got a different camera setup. It's got lighting, and she's using elements of the wind with her cape, which is exactly what you should do. And I've found a couple of swords, wearing a kilt. So this is going to be where you see various angles which need to be calculated, or at least you need to be aware of the angles that you can and can't take. So again, you need to be making sure where you're actually bending your legs from, where you're thinking, my head's got to be up, can't be looking down too much. Like you've got to be aware of your chin. He'll tell me if I'm down too much, but also you've got to bend from your lower back. Make sure those pivot points are in place. And obviously when shirtless, you want to engage the abs and push them out as much as possible. With a kilt, it's going to be pushing up any sort of loose skin. Also, now when you're holding up a sword like that, you need to be making sure that the sword is forward. It's not going down. If you've got the sword behind you as well, make sure that you can see the sword and it's not at an angle. So those things are really critical. Tense your arms obviously as well. Make sure that everything possible can be seen. Generally for a shoot like this, you might even wear a fake tan, anything to do with the body, because you want for every sort of line on you to be accentuated. Black models seem to have it easier with their skin tone being able to be picked up by the camera. Again, now when I'm pulling off a sword like that, I need to be conscious of how is the sword being picked up by the camera. Need to make sure they're flat, they're not on the angle like that. So always moving them around, asking the photographer, can you see the swords correctly, or are they just looking like lines, or are they looking like swords? Because if they bend, see if I just twisted the sword there to make sure it was somewhat on point. I'm going to change for a bigger sword and check the photos, make sure they're in line. So yeah, so you can see how that's pulling up my skin, so it's not really helping my cause with my stomach. Even though I do have abs, it's still under a layer of, probably need to reduce my body fat. And again, that's why taking a whole lot of shakes, and you got to have the diet on point all the time, and the kilt just really pushes up any excess skin that you may have. It just doesn't help your cause, but you can sort of get away with it with throwing around weapons. So using a shield and a bigger sword, now I'm needing to work with the photographer in terms of the placement, whether or not holding the sword correctly, whether or not he can see it, whether it's too much at an angle, making sure my legs are still slightly bent and I'm using my lower back to really give me that straightness. And because you can't exactly use the coat hang idea where you pull your head up, you're going to just be thinking, am I always still, like a doll, like a mannequin? And if you see the sword there, see how it's twisted? So I'm aware of where it is. I'm checking with the photographer, saying, do I need to move it? Do I need to move it? Can you see the straight sword? He's trying to give me direction in terms of where I need to hold the shield. If it can go in front, no, that's not what he's meaning. He's going to have to explain exactly what he's talking about, so that it's happening, and give me an idea of what's going on. So this isn't a pose that I usually do, because I generally don't do shields and swords. And again, I just want to work with the cameraman, because he's telling you exactly how far up he thinks it needs to be. And again, he's using a reference photo, something that he's looked at before. So he's now just giving me exact sort of placement of what he wants to see. You know, it doesn't matter how experienced you are, you want to be trying new things like this all the time, so that it makes sense that you're pushing yourself, learning more about angles. It's all about angles. Modeling is, you know, basic dancing in terms of you want to be moving with the camera, and you want it to become instinctual, and so the reflex is there, so muscle memory just takes over, and you're always going to be pulling shapes, pulling lines. Now I'm going to try some dual photos. Obviously our outfits aren't exactly a fit, but they're close enough to you know, warrant that we're in the same photo with each other. She's using the wind elements around her to, you know, sort of use the cape properly. Why wouldn't you? And I'm either taking BTS on my phone for Instagram stories or just replying to messages or something while I'm out of frame. Okay, so now again I'm having to get creative in terms of how I slot into this. She's wearing high heels, so our heights are a lot easier to manage. Not having to bend down a lot, still taking some direction from the photographer as to what do we do. Luckily the sword isn't sharp, so I can run my hand over it without cutting myself. So yeah, I'm able to get creative in terms of what I can do. I'm just going to try 3 or 4 different poses. Normally here you would look at, you know, medieval type photos and posing and to get some sort of style guide, mood book, whatever. So you'd have a general indication of the type of photos that you like and what works for the camera. That's really the only reason you do that. Still trying to feature her in these photos, so just make sure I'm standing back. If I'm holding the sword, I can't, you know, have it not straight, so I'm conscious of whether or not you can see the sword. And then if we're behind each other, making sure that there's no angles or whatnot. That's it. Yeah, so as you can see, there's always consistent adjustments. There's always a lot of adjustments actually, just determine what's going to work and how big the frame is and whether or not it's going to crop in. Or it's just a constant shuffle in terms of dancing, in terms of moving around. And again, the photographer's taking, you know, 40 odd photos, and he's only probably going to use, you know, 5 or 6 that are any good. Here I'm just trying to get straight but not you know, accentuate whatever lines I have, pushing my arms as far as they will go, you know, making sure I'm not leaning forward too much, but still you know, the height-wise I'm relevant. Okay, now I'm going solo and I'm using the camera as sort of a mirror to just sort of adjust and make sure what I need to focus on, which parts of my body are going to be seen, if I'm, you know, what parts of my body I really need to work on at the gym, if they're going to be seen, and just testing my flexibility for how I'm going to hold this sword, if this sword is the right one, whether that looks like the little archer's sword. So there was a bigger sword available, which I wasn't aware of, but either way, I'm going to go a bit solo and just test out how I need to stand, how I need to move before I go out and outside to do a couple of solo shots again. So again, just making sure I'm standing up straight the whole time. I see so many models that think that leaning their head down is a good look, and it just looks a bit too much. Really working on my stance, and making sure I'm pivoting from the lower back, bending my legs a little bit. You don't want your legs to be fully straight, because then, yes, you want to sort of sit into your bottom, sit into your ass, and then you don't want to drop your shoulders. You want to hold your shoulders up and almost make sure that that sword is coming forward. It's not leaning back too much. Like now it's leaning on my body, you can see, but I'm being very aware of how much lean it is and whether my arms need to adjust. If I can get away with a shot like that, it's okay as long as the sword is seen. But again, it's all these angles, forward, back, backwards, very, very important. If I'm holding that sword, again, I'm just experimenting a little bit here with making sure the sword is seen, but also see as I'm holding it up straight, it's going to create a shadow on my face. The photographer's just telling me, hey, there's too much shadow on your face. You don't want to do that. You just need to be aware of any shadow that's coming across your face, because it's not going to work for you. So now I'll come back and just try and get a little bit of stance, use my body proportions, use posture. If I'm holding it, again, the sword's back too much. It's leaning back too much. And so I'm just aware of how I'm pivoting and whatnot. And now we're going to go outside for the next bit. Okay, now I've set up the camera outside, so I'm going to pick up some swords. Again, I've really got to be conscious of every single angle that the sword is holding. And you see, I can't move it forward. I can't hold it forward and expect for that to be picked up by the camera. You can't move the sword in any other way except straight, otherwise it's going to look silly. And I can't move down. See, I'm doing this on purpose to accentuate anything that's not going to work for camera. Make sure my pivot is right. You need to think like a clock. That's what I'm trying to do here. It's like, okay, so the hands of the clock determine on where my feet are, because otherwise my feet will get lost. I'm also wearing a heeled boot, not to just give me extra height or anything, but to give it shape. You want to have really diamond sort of triangle sort of feet as much as possible. Just checking my hair, it's not looking too, manicured, because this doesn't really fit the theme of a wild Scotsman. If my hair's too pretty or too overdone, so you want to have a level of ruggedness. I've just been given a bigger sword, but also sort of double the size swords. So if I'm going to go just a singular sword, it's going to be a bigger one. Otherwise I'll use two. So again, don't want to bend over too much. You don't want the sword to be too forward. You want to think about every single angle and not being too straight on your legs. It's all very, very important, this posing part. Okay, so for this next part, we're going to attempt me as being a vampire, because I used to work at a place called Dracula's, and so I learned how to make these fake teeth. And so inserting them into, like they're made with little mold which is a little bit of work to sort of get them around. They're not perfect, but they're pretty close. A little bit uncomfortable to wear, but again, so I've just put on some interesting pants. It's black on black on black, but again, you can see I'm really trying to get into the mode and the concept of being an animal. So my poses are a little bit more extreme. I can use crazier angles, but really accentuate the features of my face, you know, my pointy ears and my jawline, and I open up my mouth and snarl and, you know, feel like a dog, feel like an animal, and, you know, yeah, checking my head's on point by attempting to use string theory, make sure that it's like that, but again, sitting into my ass so that my legs are correct, and again, bending my legs a little bit as the girl comes in, trying to think about, you know, outfits that are going to somewhat match, looking at what props we could use. Also, I'm using the camera as a mirror because, you know, the mirrors there aren't widely accessible with the amount of things we got in the way. I can have prettier hair for this one. I can have more manicured hair because, again, I'm acting in a fantasy element. So yeah, again, using the camera as you need. You need to use whatever you got, whether it's your phone, whether it's a mirror. If you don't have a mirror, use your phone, use a camera, whatever you can see yourself in. You know, just adapt quickly. I didn't wear makeup for any of these shoots. Normally I probably would, but again, like, trust the photographer and his ability to use Photoshop if you thought any need for, you know, accentuating my face or making it more beautiful. Again, I'm just playing with the character idea of this shoot. Sometimes you're going to be dressed in crazy outfits, and so they're going to ask you for more different angles or things that are going to sort of snap and you know, make you look a bit more full on in the photo and a little bit more creative. But I'm definitely against crazy shapes that don't look controlled. Again, you want a level of control with your head, with your chin, so it's not too far down, it's not too much on a tilt. I'm really against too much tilt. And just waiting for the photographer to be ready, you know, accentuating my jawline, using my hair, using the side of my face where my hair is coming down over my eye, because that in my head makes me think, well, this is a sexier look, it's a nicer use of hair. And then if I'm using it that way, I'm still pushing out my jawline. You know, all these things you need to be thinking about. It's not like just take a photo and hope for the best. You need to be thinking about what part of you can be picked up on the pixels of the camera. You know, whether it's your jawline, whether it's, you know, if you're conscious of that, you're going to have a better outcome on the photo. So now we're just discussing, we're going to put blood on her neck and put blood on my teeth. So what we're doing now is we're going through some inspirational photos. Most of them are like drawings of vampires, Draculas, anything like that, so we can get some ideas down what we could replicate, what we could put together in terms of what's available, and then how we would use that to you know, build out a portfolio of vampire-inspired shots, whether we tag Pinterest, whether we tag Google, using Star Now accounts, every sort of modeling account, Model Mafia, you know, all these things need to be directed back to you as the model, as the inspiration, so that you are a leader in creative shoots and people are referencing your photos for later on, but also it's a way for agents to, you know, be able to identify that this guy is versatile, he can either act and whatnot. You just want to have a steady flow of offers coming to you. And the way to do that is to put yourself out there like this. So now we've got a chair. Obviously, that cushion is terrible. doesn't team with the theme at all, so Dave's going to go find a solution for that. So we've been able to find some red carpet to put that, and I've got a vampire jacket and a hat based on some of the inspo shots that I've seen. So now I'm just going to work with the chair. Again, like the chair offers, you know, definite straightness. That's probably a better word for that, but posture-wise, it offers, you know, a constant posture opportunity. So now I'm just using my feet, trying to get real diamond, triangle shapes out, and just getting into the character, getting into the idea of the modeling, of basically what I'm wearing. It's like when singers attempt songs. If they're going to sing the song and they don't connect with the emotion or intent of the song, then obviously they do a bad job. Same with modeling. You know, once you subject yourself to wearing certain clothes and the idea of it, if you don't follow through with that, like if I was just standing upright and not giving a look or an attitude, then the shot wouldn't work. It'd be stupid. It's like, why dress like that? A lot of models don't seem to connect with the clothes, even though, and neither do they think, oh, the clothes are wearing me. They think, I'm having to wear this, so it's all about my face. No one really cares so much about your face, whether or not you're believable in the shot. You know, are you one with the clothes? Are you one with your pose? You really want to think about that, because that's really important. For me, it's like, well, to me this is all fantasy shooting, so I can be whatever I want sitting in that chair. I can be, hey, come here, you know, you want this vampire, you know, you can't avoid me, you can't get away from me, look, my top hat, you know, ways to use it so that it's not covering my face, so I'm still getting the most of me out of this shot. And then we've got to think about how we're going to include the girl. So using some inspirational shots, you do want to have some sort of, you know, connection to the girl idolizing the vampire, or, you know, she's going to be the one that the vampire eats later, all those kind of things. So it is very, you know, on point with the vibe and the theme. And you know, you don't need her to be too dramatic. And girls aren't going to ever be too dramatic, because again, they've got a lot going on in their head. Like, you know, is my face looking okay? Is the flow of my hair draping? You know, is that being picked up? They're in their own little cluster of thoughts. I just feel like I'm always having to develop the shapes around the girl and, you know, offer direction. But that's probably because I'm more experienced, done more photo shoots. And also, girls will like you to take lead, but then we swap it up and we do some singles with the girl so she can get a feel for the chair, and then really get into the dramatic idea of the... So it's very important that you think of yourself like a doll. You know, think about, if I was made into a doll and my arms were straight, how would I then pivot my body? How would I then turn? You know, because that will give you the basis of back. You know, how straight your back needs to be, how your face moves. You know, whether you would move like this. Sure, it looks like a robot dance, but if you can incorporate this into your modeling.
Guys, are you putting stuff into your engine that it doesn't recognize? Is your body stalling? Are you getting unwanted fat here and there? You've got to think of your body as a car. What I'm saying with that is you've got to just use engine oil, engine fuel, and engine repair. And if you put anything else in that it can't use, it's going to stall, all right? That's what cars do, and it's going to sit that in the garage. It's not going to be able to move it out. What you want to do is have a fiber focus. You're going to beat down all of that. You want to treat your car like an engine, and you want to get it cleaned out. So that means getting those fat stores, which is the garage, and basically breaking it down with fiber. So all that stored fat, which is the glucose or sensitive glycogen, and it just sits there, it doesn't know what to do. We need to move that out so that your body can start processing better. So in terms of engine oil, we're talking about your almonds, your good fats, you know, your avocados, lemon water, stuff that's going to help it break down. Also great fiber in edamame beans. All right, and spinach is the superfood that you want to use. The kale drinks, all of that kind of stuff, all right? You want to get moving everything that's stored up in that garage and get it moving out. Engine fuel, well, that's your good carbohydrates. We're talking about sweet potato, brown rice. We're talking about your sourdough, multigrain, probably the worst side. Don't have anything that's white. It's got starch and sugars and everything else. You're going to get a peak of energy or whatever it is, but it's also going to come down as fast as it gives you that. So it's like a sugar rush. Okay, in terms of engine repair, we're talking about proteins, fish, chicken, the best ones. Meat, yeah, that's good as well, but red kidney beans, all your other sort of beans, potentially even some seafood and all that kind of stuff. Do a couple of different poses, a couple of different techniques. We've got some photographers and film guys here, and basically just going to work on some ideas like mood boards and put some things together and see what magic we create. That's basically how it works. You go into a shoot with a couple of ideas, a couple of mood boards, and wait for the magic to come. So one thing to keep in mind when we're practicing for runway is obviously to become one with the clothes that we're wearing, okay? We don't have to smile and go, hey, look, I'm performing, I'm walking, and everyone's looking at me. We have to adopt the personality of what the clothes are. Now, the clothes itself are going to do the talking for us. So that means when we're walking, essentially, yes, straight up, like we're backing off a wall, coming towards using our hip first, okay? So we're coming in like that. You don't need to smile or anything. Like when you're stopping, you've obviously made a choice which leg to stop on. Then you sit back into that leg. Okay? Swap sides and shift the weight, and then determine how you're going to move back. Very simple. In terms of when we are going to be catwalking, we want to make sure that we've got a lot of length. Obviously, string theory up, drape the arms, coat hanger here. But we're going to move from our hips. Now we don't want to shift out hips that side, we want to shift hips back, and we'll make it deliberate when we stop. So when we walk up to our mark, we want to choose the leg that we're going to stop on, stop here. Okay, now all the weight comes back, shift in there, but don't stretch it out completely. You want to have some sort of bend in it. Then you can make your pose. First pose, 3 seconds. Okay, generally it's like that, all right, because you don't want to be anything but pretty much a mannequin, and obviously, the personality of the clothes that you're wearing, you want to adopt. You don't want to go, hey mom, look at me, hey everybody. You want to be, I'm one with the clothes, I'm one with the vision of the designer. So we've made our stop, 1, 2, 3, shift our weight, 1, 2, 3. The purpose of this is obviously so you can see the clothes in action, so everyone can get an idea of the functionality, the practicality of the clothes and how it works, and then you make your exit after another 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. So just walk up to the camera and then be deliberate with the side that you're going to stop on. Okay, make your first pose. 1, 2, 3. Doing a third pose. Okay, now make a strategic exit. That's it. Excellent. Female and the male, different styles. All right, cool. So what I want you to do, Jess, obviously, bit of strength theory, so you measure up, you look like there's a wall behind you. Yep. So when you're going to jet off the wall, you are straight, and basically the coat hanger, everything is draped down. So just drape, not relax, no sort of military, nothing like that. So we're going to use the hip first, and imagine there is a straight line right in front of you, like this straight line. Yeah. So basically we're going to go from your hip to heel on the straight line, but we don't want it to hit straight. We actually want it to twist a little bit, sort of almost 40 degrees, not 45, not 90, not 45, sort of 40. Yeah. So you've been going hip to heel, so still keeping upright, go hip to heel, right? So that's basically still on the straight line. Yeah. Okay? Yeah, so no, it's fine. You can learn on flats and then you can progress up to heels and whatnot. So again, so straight line, drape everything, hip to heel, 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 and then deliberate stop deliberate stop into pose. All right, now this is the tricky part where you basically lose all focus. You look down, you can't look down.
Yeah.
Okay. Look down and don't think about where this is going to go, because it's sort of natural to like slope your head and go, there's my first pose, all right? And then we lose everything. Also, no personality here because the clothes have got the personality, all right? So no personality here, the clothes have got personality. So then straight up again. Now basically you're on the wall as you started.
Yeah.
All right, first pose. Shift weight, second pose.
Yeah.
Then 2 step back. 1, 2, on the line, turn. Now when you turn, obviously don't drop the head again and think my job is done. Your job's just started, okay? Now you got to get back. So that's all part of the job. So 1, 2, turn, head up again, straight back. Now some people, practice with the hook on the head. That's good because again, that's all about using this back muscle to pivot from your waist, your back muscle here, the actual opposite of the abs, and then straight back to where you started. Of course, then we can turn back flat against the wall. So you're up.
Okay. So just like the posing in my memory will go, so there.
Yeah, so when you stop, it's a deliberate stop, as in that's your first pose. So when you hip to heel on the ground,
Yeah.
right, that's where you're going to push your weight and then choose where you pose. Let's gear up from the start. All right, stop. All right, string, drape, okay, hip to heel, walk. That's good, relax. Now stop.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So now shift the weight back, that leg back there, okay. Now make a 2 step backwards, 1, 2, turn. Good, excellent. Now stop, all right, do it again. Like that, okay. So, up against the wall, drape, present close, and then walk to me. Hip to heel, hip to heel, hip to heel. Tiny bit more swag, but I mean, Jess is injured, you've got to keep in mind. So, the body's hips and things like that have been altered. But, just if you're going a little bit of swag, and also your pace. If you're nervous and you're walking, it's natural to sort of speed it up and go, oh, I need to get this done, I need to get this done. Okay, no, you need to glide like a duck. Okay, so just glide, pace, confidence. You've got this. Up against the wall, everything done. Deliberate stop. Okay, now present close. Right, now strategic exit. 1, 2, turn. Don't drop the head. Don't drop the head and think your job is done. It's not. It's just started. It's just started. Okay guys, so something to keep in mind also is when it comes to catwalks is that basically it's a showcase, all right? 9 times out of 10 it's not about getting paid or being the guy who's paid for the actual catwalk itself, unless there's something specific that the designer is wanting, like in terms of the rehearsal, in terms of how the models do formations at the end, or if they've got a bit more profile and they're already seen on front of magazines and they've got profile and they're bringing people to the show because they have those specific models or they're signed to those model groups. So one thing to remember is that showcase and networking happens at fashion shows. It's a good chance for the model to come in and meet other designers, other photographers, set up more shoots, and also find out who the agents are, because chances are there's going to be scouts there. So I've had a lot of models come to me and go, oh, well, look, can I get some paid work at like a fashion show, or can you pay me to walk for you? Chances are there's always going to be someone hungrier to network. There's always going to be someone who's ready to get in there and showcase what they got. Look, unless you've got incredible symmetry, you understand your proportions and you know how to use your body in terms of framing, and I need that specific look for my clothes, I'm not really going to be interested in paying you for that. Like, it's just something you need to keep in the back of your mind, that when it comes to catwalks and fashion shows like that, it's a great opportunity for you to network, mingle, get your name out there, find the agents, find the talent scouts and all that kind of stuff. Stop putting payment first, okay? Something for you to really think about and keep in the back of your mind. Can't stress that enough.
So today's workout is going to be a mix of shoulders and back. So starting off with lighter weight, working through as volume sets. So we're going to do 10 of each, to the last being the heaviest, so work through to failure. So we're doing 3 times 3, which I'll show you what I mean. So the idea of this is to extend the back and basically bring up to get a good backhand shoulder workout. So the way that you, what are you laughing at? So this triggers the back muscles. If you go to the side there, you can engage sort of the rear delt as well. Is that right? Pretty close? Yeah. The cameraman's nodding. So basically we do 10 of these. 3, 4. On a lightweight, it's fairly easy. 9, 10, let me change up the exercise. So just attacking the top of the shoulder. And it's also working this muscle here, which I think is called delts. Deltoid? No? Traps. Traps, sorry. Delts is behind that. Hey, I didn't do the full set.
Legend!
No, check it.
There we go.
8, 9, 10. Last bit of the exercise. So just the full side of the muscle on the shoulder. So just going straight up. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And slow on the way down. To get rid of the slow, lighter weight, and then go a bit heavier. So for these ones I've chosen 4 kilograms to start with. This is 7 and I'm going up to 12. On the 12 kilo, probably won't be able to get 10 reps. I'll just go to failure. So it's high volume to give you real definition. 10. Now, it's already hurting because I've done some of this today as well, but because high volume and high reps, you need that lighter weight. So don't try and be He-Man straight away and get to heavier weight and do 30 reps. Like we've already done 60 reps basically. So it's 30, 30, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. And now I'm just trying to get 90 reps per set. So try and keep your back straight when you do this as well. Okay, here's the struggle string. So then basically have a little break, have some water, you do 2 more sets like that as well. So that's 90 reps all up, times 3 sets all up, which is a shitload of reps. So the next thing we do for back is we want to do as many chin-ups as possible and then do negatives as well. So we've worked the shoulders a fair bit. We're going to come back and do the rear delts. Works this part here. Getting out the shoulders, but in the meantime, I want to do some scapula, which is working sort of the inner parts of the back muscle as well. So we do lower back, high back. Don't know what I'm talking about.
Scapula? What that's your shoulder bone.
Yeah, I like shoulder. I just like that word. So
It's just so beautiful.
Let's make it all work.
There we go.
So I'm going to do as many chin-ups as I can do, and then do negatives, at least 5 negatives. And negatives is where I push myself up, and then just come down as slow as I can, go into failure basically. So now do negatives. I don't have to use the same grip. Just make sure you got your thumb underneath as well, like that. You don't want to be over like that, it might fall. Basically done 4 so negative, so then we want to do probably another 3 sets of that as well. Okay, so sort of to keep things going on with shoulder and back now, and to work a little bit of the traps, we're going to do some rear delt focus, sort of pulls. I'll show you what I mean. Sort of midway. 7 kilos, like to lean over. Focus on one hand's going to be up higher than the other. Just pull it out. So you want to just hold it there for 2 seconds. Arms still up. 3, 4, 5, 6. Try and get to 10 of these. 8. Keep your back straight and push your bum out. 9, 10, then swap arms over. So this one that was on top goes 1, 2, get to 10 as well. And to work a little bit on the trap, I'll just basically go up slow. We'll hold it. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Pull up like that as well. So it's just pulling in what you've just worked from your rear delt. So yeah, best about 12 reps to failure. So that was today's workout. Basically shoulders, a bit of back. So do at least 3 sets on that, 3 sets on that, 3 sets on that to finish, and then abs and obliques if you want. I do them about 4 times a week now, maybe 5 times a week. Thanks for watching.